Welcome back to Movies on the Brain, where we explore films that are as unique and lively as the world inside you. I'm Jason, and today I'm diving into the animated action comedy Osmosis Jones. Directed by the Farley brothers and Pete Croom, Osmosis Jones is a wild ride that blends live action and animated animation to take us on an adventure inside the human body. Featuring the voice talents of Chris Rock, Laurence Fishburne, and David Hyde Pierce, alongside live-action performances by Bill Murray and Molly Shannon. This film brings humor, action, and biology together in a way only Hollywood could. In Osmosis Jones, we're taken into a world where the fight for health becomes a high-stakes adventure. Let's break down this unique mix of comedy and action and see why it's remained a one-of-a-kind favorite. Osmosis Jones opened in theaters on August 10th, 2001 with a budget of $70 million. In its 7-week theatrical run, it earned $13.5 million domestically and $429,507 internationally, making a worldwide total of $14 million. Its opening weekend saw it earn $5.2 million, finishing number 7 in the box office, behind Jurassic Park 3, 2001's Planet of the Apes, The Others, The Princess Diaries, Rush Hour 2, and American Pie 2, numbers 6 through 1 respectively, with The Others and American Pie 2 opening the same weekend. Its final week in theaters saw it earn $115,085, finishing its box office run at number 48. Frank Detour is an unkempt zookeeper at the Sucat Memorial Zoo in Rhode Island. He copes with his wife Maggie's death by overeating and foregoing basic hygiene, much to his daughter Shane's concern. Inside his body, white blood cell osmosis, Ozzy Jones is an overzealous officer of the Frank Police Department, the body's center for responses against bodily threat. Facing an election against Tom Kalanick, Mayor Fleming doubles down on his junk food policy so that he could go to a food festival in Buffalo, New York, ignoring its effects on Frank's health. This causes Frank to eat a boiled egg covered in chimp saliva, allowing Thrax, a deadly virus known mainly as the Red Death, to enter his body and inflame his throat. Fleming instructs Frank to take a cold pill. The pill, Special Agent Drixenol Drixobenzomethamphetamine, proceeds to disinfect the throat, covering up evidence of Thrax's arrival. Ozzy is told to assist Drix in his investigation, much to his displeasure. Thrax assumes leadership of a gang of sweat germs and breaks down Frank's mucus dam, nearly killing the duo and causing a runny nose. Ozzy tells Drix how he once caused Frank to vomit on Shane's teacher, Mrs. Boyd, at a school science fair after Frank ate a contaminated oyster, which led to Frank's dismissal from his previous job and Mrs. Boyd filing a restraining order against him. Frank's brother Bob has gotten him his job at the zoo, and Ozzy was suspended for unnecessary force. Ozzy and Drix visit Chill, a flu vaccine and an informant who directs them to Thrax's hideout in a germ-ridden nightclub and a large zit on Frank's forehead. Ozzy goes undercover and infiltrates Thrax's gang, where he learns that Thrax intends to masquerade as a common cold and use his knowledge of DNA to kill Frank. When Ozzy is discovered, Drix comes to his aid, causing a brawl which culminates in the zit being popped by a grenade. Its pus lands on Mrs. Boyd's lip during a meeting between her and Frank. In response, Fleming closes the investigation, dismisses Ozzy from the police force, and orders Drix to leave Frank's body. Back in the real world, Frank prepares to go to Buffalo, much to Shane's disapproval. Unbeknownst to the duo, Thrax has survived its destruction and launches a lone assault on the hypothalamus, where he steals a crucial nucleotide. He then abducts Fleming's secretary, Leah Estrogen, and flees to the mouth to escape. His actions disable the body's ability to regulate temperature, and Frank develops a dangerous fever. As Frank is hospitalized, Ozzy convinces Drix not to leave, and the duo catch up to Thrax and rescue Leah. Thrax induces Frank to sneeze him out of the mouth using pollen. Drix shoots Ozzy after him, and he and Thrax both land on Shane's cornea. As the two battle, they end up on one of Shane's false eyelashes. Ozzy tricks Thrax into getting his hand embedded in the lash and escapes just as it falls into a beaker of rubbing alcohol, killing Thrax. As Frank's temperature surpasses 108 degrees Fahrenheit or 42 degrees Celsius, he goes into cardiac arrest. Clinging onto one of Shane's tears as she mourns her father, Ozzy falls back into Frank's mouth with the stolen nucleotide, reviving him just in time. Ozzy is then welcomed back into the police force as he begins a relationship with Leah, and Drake stays as Ozzy's new partner. And Frank commits himself to living a healthier lifestyle. Fleming is reduced to a janitor in the bowels and is ejected from Frank's body by flatulence after ignoring a notice not to trigger it. Now let's look at the cast and some of their other roles they've had. Bill Murray as Francis Frank DeTore. Other roles for Bill Murray include Bob Harris in Lost in Translation, Baloo in 2016's The Jungle Book, and Agent 13 in Get Smart. Molly Shannon as Mrs. Boyd. Other roles for Molly Shannon include Diane in A Good Person, Wanda in Hotel Transylvania 1 and 2, and Eve Adams in Evan Almighty. Chris Elliott as Robert Bob DeTore. Other roles for Chris Elliott include Roland Schitt in the TV show Schitt's Creek, Mr. Buttons in Sandy Wexler, and Mickey in the TV show How I Met Your Mother. Alana Franklin as Shane DeTore. Other roles for Alana Franklin include Mandy in the Bully video game, Kelly in Goy Band, and Maria's girlfriend in The Roommate. Danny Murphy as the zookeeper superintendent. Other roles for Danny Murphy include Dickie in Stuck on You, Bo Shane in Hull Pass, and Herb in the TV show Unhitched. Chris Rock as Osmosis Jones. Other roles for Chris Rock include Milton King in Amsterdam, Lawrence in Nobody's Fool, and Marty in the Madagascar franchise. Laurence Fishburne as Thrax. Other roles for Laurence Fishburne include Alpha Trion in Transformers 1, Harold Christian in Under the Stadium Lights, and Dr. Bill Foster in Ant-Man and the Wasp. David Hyde Pierce as Special Agent Drixnall Drix. Other roles for David Hyde Pierce include Dr. Niles Crane in the TV show Frasier, Abe Sapien in 2004's Hellboy, and Dr. Doppler in Treasure Planet. Brandy Norwood as Leah Estrogen. Other roles for Brandy Norwood include Cassie Brown in the TV show Star, Carla Wilson in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and Cinderella in Rogers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. William Shatner as Mayor Fleming. Other roles for William Shatner include Jimmy Murray in Fireheart, General Shanker in Escape from Planet Earth, and Dennis Crane in the TV show Boston Legal. Ron Howard as Tom Kalanick. Ron Howard is most well known as being a director. Some of his projects he's directed being Solo, A Star Wars Story, The Dilemma, and The Da Vinci Code. Joel Silver as the police chief. Joel Silver is most well known for being a producer, with some of the projects he's produced being The Nice Guys, Project X, and The Book of Eli. Before giving my thoughts on this movie, I just want to say I think this is only the second movie that I've seen that combines live action into animation. The first being The Page Master, which will be coming to the channel. I'm just not sure when as of right now. The scene when Frank and his daughter Shane starts out really touching, and then Frank and his daughter start out really fighting, and then chaos ensues when the monkey steals Frank's egg. Then proceeds to eat the egg that not only was in the monkey's mouth but also fell on the ground. Gross. Ugh. I love the animation style of the inside of Frank's body. And while Chris Rock really isn't one of my favorite actors, I really enjoyed him in this. I like the fact that when something happens inside Frank's body, like Ozzy destroying his nerves by shooting them, we immediately get the real world reaction of that with Frank getting a cramp in his leg. The horror movie feeling when we get introduced to Thrax is phenomenal. I love the character design of Thrax. Mayor Fleming comes across as an arrogant leader, taking over Frank to take a full pill instead of going to the doctor. I like that our introduction to Drix is him being a by the books agent. I also like that even though Ozzy is a loose cannon, he noticed something wasn't right about the sore throat and then starts trying to figure out what really happened. Thrax is the epitome of evil, but I love the way Laurence Fishburne plays him. He's giving him so much charisma. Thrax trying to cause a runny nose only for it to be stopped by Drix after Ozzy saw Thrax was so well animated, but going going to the real world and seeing snot come out of Frank's nose was really gross. I'm going to be saying that a lot in this movie because there's a lot of gross scenes in this. Ozzy and Drix having a bonding moment after Ozzy tells the mayor about the virus, who they don't know is Thrax at this time, and the mayor not believing Ozzy is going to reassign Drix with a new partner was a nice scene. And I feel like it really showed that Drix doesn't think Ozzy is as hot headed as he seems. And like I just said earlier, this movie is full of gross scenes, like the flashback of Frank vomiting on Mrs. Boyd at Shane's science fair. Ugh, ugh. I still have nightmares about that scene. Ozzy and Drix going undercover, and Ozzy seeing Thrax for the first time while Drix practices dancing is such an interesting scene. I came close to throwing up when that zit popped in Mrs. Boyd's face after the fight between Thrax's men and Ozzy and Drix. It was not a pretty sight. I really enjoyed the chemistry between Chris Rock and David Hyde Pierce, especially in the scene after Ozzy gets fired when they're cleaning out their lockers at the police station. La- Thrax being able to turn his getaway car into an awesome hot rod was a neat visual. A bad guy's got to have a nice car. I mean, that's pretty obvious, don't you think? I really enjoyed the fight scene between Ozzy and Thrax, with Thrax dying in alcohol, which was a nice touch. And I really enjoyed how well animated that scene was. The scene where it looked like Frank was going to die was such a hard watch, and it was due to Atlanta Franklin's acting in that scene. She was absolutely phenomenal. Overall, I feel like it was a unique movie with a great cast and top-notch animation, even though it is kind of hard to watch with how gross majority of the movie is. Now let's look at some fun facts and trivia about the movie. Bill Murray's character mentions a National Chicken Wing Festival in Buffalo, New York. While the festival did not exist during the filming of the movie, this mention caused organizers to create an annual festival in Buffalo. The festival has been held annually on Labor Day weekend since 2002. At an hour, 1 minute, and 4 seconds into the movie, Osmosis Jones walks into the chief's office and says, Leah, what are you doing here? He is speaking to the mayor's aide, Leah, who is voiced by Brandy Norwood. Chris Rock unintentionally ad-libbed that line and the filmmakers decided to put it in. According to filmmakers, Mayor Fleming is based on Richard Nixon and Tom Kalanick is based on John F. Kennedy. In the bladder scene, you can see one of the characters carrying the Pokemon character Pikachu as a pet. Warner Brothers owned the Pokemon anime back then. Will Smith was interested in the role of Ozzy, but was unable to do his part due to scheduling conflict. Prior to Laurence Fishburne recording his lines for his role as Thrax, the artists working on the film didn't have an artistic representation of him. Fishburne states that he took sort of a classical approach to portray his villainous character and would use a carved mask in order to immerse himself in the role. Now, I've got the list of some of the actors who were considered for roles, and I'll start with who was considered for Thrax before Laurence Fishburne was cast. Jeff Daniels, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, Dennis Hopper, Kevin Spacey, Isaac Hayes, Chuck Norris, LeVar Burton, Tim Allen, Samuel L. Jackson, Tom Cruise, Billy Bob Thornton, Robert Downey Jr., Kurt Russell, Kevin Creveau, and Mike Myers. They were all considered for the role of Thrax before Laurence Fishburne was cast. Malcolm McDowell, Christopher Lloyd, Dwayne Johnson, James Marsden, Billy Bob Thornton, Doug Jones, Keanu Reeves, and Leslie Nielsen were all considered for the role of Drix. Anthony Anderson, Adam Sandler, D.L. Hughes, Matthew Broderick, Alex Winter, Harry Connick Jr., John Cusack, Cuba Gooding Jr., Harry Enfield, Woody Harrelson, Chris Tucker, Chris O'Donnell, Todd Stashwick, and Martin Short were all considered for the role of Osmosis Jones. And Aykroyd, Adam Sandler, Tom Hanks, Jim Carrey, Ben Stiller, and Johnny Depp were all considered for the role of Frank DeTore. Sherry Howard, Holly Robinson, Cameron Manheim, and Paula Abdul were considered for the role of Leah. Brian Murray, Gregory Peck, Cole Meany, and Alan Cumming were all considered for the role of Mayor Fleming. And that's a wrap on my review of Osmosis Jones. This film is a unique blend of comedy, action, and science that delivers a fun and memorable adventure inside the human body. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe to Movies on the Brain for more breakdowns of animated gems and creative comedies. Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite part of Osmosis Jones, and did it teach you something new on how your body works? Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay healthy, stay curious, and keep the adventure alive.